crew. Look at all these beautiful faces I have with me today. So we are here to talk to you about how to work smarter and not harder. This is really important on social media because social media can get completely overwhelming. I'm not sure if any of you can relate to that in your journey so far in building a business on social media, but it can be absolutely exhausting sometimes. So if we can share some little tips with you today with my friends here that I work very closely with in our VIP mentorship program, and they're doing great things in their businesses. So I've asked them to come along and for them to share their experiences with how they have learned to work smarter and not harder, because this is kind of survival, I guess, in the social media world. So hopefully what we share with you today, you're going to find meaningful and you can take away with you and think about how you can implement the tips that we're sharing with you today in your business. So guys, you just want to unmute and say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So we've got Beth, we've got Meredith, we've got Cherie, we've got Steve, we've got Yvette, we've got Laurie. We do have more in our VIP mentorship program, but some are working and got other things on. So we have these lovely people that have joined me here today, and we're all learning. You never stop learning to sort of work smarter and not harder. So we're all drawing on our experiences in how we do this in our businesses. And hopefully we can, impart some good knowledge with you here today. If you are with us live, please say hello to everybody here. Let us know where you're watching in from. If we haven't met before, I'm your captain, Helen Martin. That's just a bit of fun for our online crew community here. And everyone here on the screen with me, we're all in the industry building our businesses online, learning to navigate this big wide world of social media to successfully build our businesses. And a huge part of that is not getting completely overwhelmed by all the things we need to do that with social media, and learning how to work smarter and not harder. So we're going to get straight into it, and I really hope that you can be able to take away at least one tip from us today on how to work smarter and not harder. So I'm just going to start. And these are two things that I would highly recommend that you adopt as soon as you can. So some people say to me, well, when I'm further along in my business or I'm more experienced, I'll have a look at that. I do not recommend that. And what I'm sharing here is regarding batching your content and repurposing your content. The quickest, the fastest, the earliest that you can learn to adopt that in your business, the better off that you will be. So a couple of examples around that. If you're going to, just simple examples, what I would recommend that everyone do on their social media is do an engagement post of some sort. Now, an engagement post could be as simple as writing, like you just hot pink or orange or whatever it is. It's just a background color, and you write a question: what's your favorite holiday destination? Thinking of going on a holiday, what's your favorite holiday destination? So that could be an example of an engagement post. Put one of those out every week to drive for engagement. Now, if you're going to do one of those a week, every week, instead of researching and go to Google and put, engagement posts, sample engagement post ideas, when you're going to do a bit of research about what you might want to write, what I do is I've got a Google Sheet. So it's universal. It's in the cloud. So I'm not at risk of it just being on my computer. If anything happens to my computer or I spill my tea or my coffee on my computer, it's in the cloud. Highly recommend that. For working smarter and not harder. There's nothing worse. Has that ever happened to any of you where you've only had something on your computer and something's gone wrong with your computer and you're like, no? I've had PowerPoint presentations where I've, like in the corporate world, where it's only been on my computer and it's for a whole awards night and the file got corrupt. And it's like the night before, and I've dropped to the floor crying, and Paul's had to come to my rescue, calling our computer guy going, you have to come and help my wife. Like when you got things in the cloud, that kind of thing, it doesn't happen because it's not only on the one device. Anyway, that's a bit of a sidetrack moment. If you're going to write one engagement post, write 10. Like if you're going to do a bit of research, right? I want to do an engagement post once a week. So there's one idea. Keep going and write 9 more. And if you do one engagement post a week, you've now got 10 weeks worth of engagement posts. So see what I mean about batching. Like if any of you do reels, Facebook or Instagram reels, don't just record one reel. Do what I do on it, and you don't have to do it on a Friday afternoon, but that's when I do mine. I batch record anywhere between 5 and 10. If I've done 10, I feel so accomplished. I feel so good. It's like I've got 10. So if I post Monday to Friday, I've got 2 weeks worth of reels, and I just do it in like an hour or two. So all done, I've got 2 weeks worth of content, already done. So that's what I mean by batch, batch creating your content. And back to our Google Drive, store it. When we post on social media, where do your posts go? Down the feed. They just get buried and buried and buried and buried because you got new content coming up the top and new content coming up top. So all your content gets buried. So if you write engagement posts or curiosity posts or those kind of things, put them in a folder in a Google Drive, collect 3 months worth of content, and then start recycling it, because no one remembers what you wrote 3 months ago. And you can pick up, like maybe you write a really cool post, just edit it slightly or use the same post and put a different photograph with it. Like no one remembers, and the algorithm sends your content 3 months later to different people than they sent it to 3 months prior. So no one remembers really if you posted the same thing. So my tip for today, I'd encourage you, no, I don't care whether you're brand new or whether you've been around for a long time. If you can learn to batch create your content and then save it like in a Google Drive and then repurpose it every 3 months, you are going to have a much easier time of creating content for yourself on social media. So it really is a good way to work smarter and not harder. So that's my tip for today. So thank you for those of you that have said hello. We got Faye, we got Tonya, we got Sandra, we got Joy. Great to see you guys on. So I'm going to move straight on to Beth. Beth, what's your tip for us?
Hi, everyone. So I was a huge multitasker, full disclosure. And I want to give you a tip today on a good tip on how to work smarter, not harder. So although I used to think that multitasking was a really good skill to have, juggling all the things, let's face it, when we're in this industry, we have a lot of things that need to be done, as well as our personal life. We have our networking, our posts, our content creation, answering emails, and the list goes on, right? So there are actual studies out there that show that when our brain is constantly switching and going back and forth between our tasks, especially when those tasks are complicated, they require our attention, right? So we become less efficient and less productive and more likely to make mistakes. So me being a multitasker, when I was introduced by Helen to tracking and time blocking, it was a real eye-opener for me. First in tracking, finding out where the gaps were, just evaluating every step of my day and evaluating what really was I getting done, which was not very much. And then I started time blocking and focusing on one task at a time for that specific period of time. What a massive difference in efficiency, in productivity. And then I evaluated again and realized that I was becoming so much more efficient with my time, and my productivity had really increased. Not to mention that I had time left over to do other things. So multitasking, I believe, divides our attention, and it makes it harder to concentrate on one thing and be efficient. So, and there's still times that I would do multitasking, like, on the treadmill, I'll listen to an Audible or folding laundry or something. But when it comes to the most important tasks, the major thing for me is to time block so I can work smarter and not harder. So just a quick example of that. If I was, a couple of days ago, I did Helen's likes campaign training, and that takes a lot of focus. But I love creating content as well. So if I was listening to that training and just on the side creating content, because that's what I love to do, it would affect my ability to learn and to focus on that likes campaign training. So when we multitask, we actually lose the ability to focus and learn. So the training needed to be in my time blocking. My content creation had to be in my time blocking so that I can fully focus on each task and actually focus and learn better. So that's my tip for working smarter, not harder, is time blocking. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that pride themselves, including me. This used to be in my past. I used to pride myself on being an awesome multitasker. It's like, how dumb can you be? Like, it's not effective. It's not efficient. But Beth just sort of explain that. And you can prove this to yourself. Take 5 minutes after you've watched this training, get a piece of paper. I've done this a couple of times live, and write down and time yourself. So get a piece of paper and write down 2 columns and go A1, B2, C3, D4. Okay, and time yourself until you get to 10. Okay, time that. Then scrap that, put your timer back to 0 and go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, 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 blah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then see what the time says. I guarantee you the time on the second one will be so much less than the first one. And this is what happens in your brain. If you go social media, creating content, like likes campaign, looking at my email, whatever, you actually don't realize how much time and how much brain space that you're wasting. You're actually really inefficient. The only time I multitask is when I'm doing something that doesn't require my brain. Well, most things require using your brain, but like if I'm walking on the treadmill, I'll listen to a training or I'll have my computer in front of me doing something, but I don't need my brain. You do need your brain to walk, but do you know what I mean? Like, you know, and you do need your brain to drive a car, but the things that you do without thinking, that's the only time you should be multitasking, really. Okay. Very, very important topic. So thank you for mentioning that, Beth. Meredith, what tip have you got for us?
Yeah, so I wanted to share some tips about being really savvy with your hashtags to make them work smarter for your content. So recent research tells us that hashtags are still a really great way to get your content in front of new eyes. And we use hashtags to label and categorize content. So we know that Facebook and Instagram in particular do use hashtags to categorize our content and pop it in front of people that they think will have the highest interest. So how do we get super savvy to make our hashtags work smarter for the content that we're spending time creating? Well, fortunately, Instagram's given us some great recommendations. And the first one is to have a hashtag strategy. And what's trending at the moment is what they're calling fewer but hyper-relevant hashtags. So don't waste your time popping into your content 10, 20, 30 hashtags. They're recommending between 3 and 5 hashtags. They recommend a mix between really well-known hashtags and ones that are specific to your niche for your online business. They recommend also make sure that your hashtags actually like match your content, and you can use your hashtags to categorize what's in your content. So just checking my notes here. The other thing is there's different types of hashtag groups, which some of them I sort of kind of thought about, but how to effectively use them again. So you've got 3 to 5 hashtags. There's things like location-based hashtags. There's what they call branded hashtags for events or campaigns. So they're really good if you're offering training or attending training, for example. There's industry hashtags, things like hashtag health and wellness. But there's also a group which is around what they're calling community focused. And I thought these were really good to explore because they're things that people would come together and seek out content for. So it might be a pain point, it might be a problem, it might be something that they're looking for help on, or something that you're offering value or a solution around. The other one are descriptive hashtags. So I personally haven't used this to great effect, but they could be great when there's something specific in that particular post that you want to draw out. And that could be something about an ingredient, for example, in a product. So like hashtag collagen. So there's a broad sort of group of hashtag types we can use. But my other learning that I found is using hashtags in both the captions and the content section, because the algorithm looks there. So make sure you've got the right number in there in the right places. My final tip would be use smart tools to help you save time and be smarter. So if you're stuck for inspiration, there's lots of free hashtag generator tools out there. You just got to type into Google free hashtag generator. But also if you use a scheduling tool, so I use Meta, and if you go into the sort of planner, there's like a little hashtag icon on there. You can click on that and you can search for hashtags. it will tell you, it will make recommendations, it will tell you how popular that hashtag is. So straight off, there's a great way to find really well-known ones. But what I really love is that you can also save them. So that's going to save you time when you go back again to create content by having those saved hashtags there, and you can quickly and easily pop them in. So hopefully that will help you be quite savvy with your hashtags and get them working smarter for your content. Thanks, Helen.
Awesome. Thanks, Meredith. I would love to know if you can put in the comments section, anybody that's listening or catching the replay later, if you use hashtags on Facebook. Do you use hashtags on Facebook? I would love to know, because I still think it's underutilized. And you know, a few years ago, it was a no-no. Like, Facebook used to cane people for having hashtags on their platform. Instagram, it's a no-brainer. It's part of the content that you need to put out. You got to have hashtags because that's how people find a lot of content on Instagram. But I would love to know if you use hashtags on Facebook, and if you don't, I would start looking at it and using those recommendations Meredith has given you, because it can get your content in front of people that have not, you know, looked at your content before or seen you before. So there is that. The other thing I just want to share with that is I have done training previously for all of you on how to use the text replacement feature for hashtags. So when you find your groove and you use Meredith's recommendation to find the good mix of hashtags, go to your phone, type them in once, learn how to use the text replacement feature. So now when I use hashtags on either Facebook or Instagram, mine are all branded H something. So my hashtags to do with motivation is just HM. So when I type in HM on either Instagram or Facebook, all my hashtags automatically populate just by putting in the letters HM. So if you don't know how to use the text replacement feature, it's something that you want to learn. I've got training in that in my community. That is definitely working smarter and not harder. So thank you very much for that, Meredith. Cherie, what have you got for us today?
Hi, everyone. So, working smarter and not harder is something that we all want to do. And I think this is something that people maybe that are newer or haven't really come online much, that they aren't really aware of. But it's important to be social on social media. And this is something that I learned from Helen, which I was already doing, but I found that I needed to do more and be, more social, and to actually, when you come on, one thing that I used to do was come on and I would post here and I would post there and all of this stuff, and then may go back and answer maybe just a couple of people if there were any comments, and then I would go off to my next task. But what I needed to do and have learned to do is to make sure that I comment back. It's more of a thing now, and probably was a thing then. I wasn't aware, but it's more of a thing to, we want to make people feel loved, cared for, heard. We want to make people feel like they're important, because we all are. And if you do a post and someone answers your post or gives you a compliment or says something, you need to say something back. It's important to do that, because then you spend your time, you go back and you're like, huh, nobody answered, and then you do more posts and you're on social media all day. But if you take the time and answer people back, when you go back, you're not really just doing another post. You're having a relationship building. You're having connections made. You're actually able to, converse, with somebody, and then, maybe take it off to Messenger if it goes like that. But it's so important to let people know that they are cared for, that they are important. And when you answer somebody's comment, and I love to give hearts, and I think I started doing it more so when I saw there were a few people that I really look up to that are leaders like Helen and, some of the other mentors that I know and that I follow. And, I could see that they were just putting those big red hearts out there. And I was like, it's really worth it. It's to me, I prefer to give people something that's going to make them smile. And maybe a like won't do it for them, but giving them a heart from my heart, just lets them know they are important. And I want to talk to them and I want to get to know them. And, sometimes, it won't happen like that, but most times it will. And you won't be just posting to post. You're posting to make connections, to get to know other people and let them get to know you and go on from there. And so for me, that makes it smarter, not harder. So that's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Cherie. And I guess just to highlight what Cherie's saying there is what I see all the time for people wanting to learn about social media and building online is a common thing I say is I've got to do more. I've got to post more. I've got to do more. I've got to learn email marketing. I've got to learn reels. I've got to do more. Like I've got to I've got to work harder. It's sometimes not a matter of working harder. It's actually working out what's more important with your time, being smart, really smart with your time. And something that a lot of people overlook is that genuine, like just being more social on social media, which is what Cherie is talking about. It is a better use of your time to sometimes not learn everything, but just be really good at making a lot of connections and being social, because you can't get more customers and you can't get more teammates if you're not talking to anybody. So if you use social media as a one-way street, like you're a consumer, you just will look at, and spy on what everyone's doing, but you're not really engaging much and you're not being very social, it won't work for you. So a smarter use of your time, instead of trying to learn everything that there is to learn on social media, is to time block for like 30 minutes a day minimum and just be more social on social media. So that is a very smart use of your time, instead of watching training on training on training on training on training and you take no action. So thank you, Cherie. Very valid. Mr. Steve, what have you got for us?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right. Good deal. Well, what I wanted to tell you about is share two key topics with you. Number one, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever gotten to a point where you were told, oh, I remember my mentor told me I needed to post in my personal profile, or my mentor told me I needed to post in my business page. So you write it down and you start writing down bullet points on a task list. And then you get distracted and then you go to training. And by the end of the day, you go back and you say, oh man, let me see what I got checked off here. Oh no, I forgot to do a post. I got to go and do a post. So now you're scrambling to create something to get it off your list. And you're just throwing something out there. You're throwing it together and you're not really given the opportunity to put anything together with any forethought. Have you ever experienced that? That's me. That was me until now. I'm learning that there's a better approach. I've been told this, but I had to discover it first, that I'm doing the very things that they're telling me not to do. I got to go back and do this. So this is what I wanted to share. Pre-design your posts and then create file folders that will save you time and will also reduce your stress. And when we talk about pre-designing the post, one of the things that I learned is that it's crucial to go in and learn a design tool like Canva. If you get in there and you learn, in fact, we've got people right on this team that has been a great help with Canva. If you don't know Canva, talk to this team. There's people on here. Beth, I'm going to point you out. Beth has been a great help to us on how to design stuff. When I first go back and look at what I had designed in Canva, I laugh. Now I'm getting a little better. The benefit of this is when you go into Canva, once you learn how
Have we lost him? He looks like So Steve's internet has.
there we go. I'm back. You
You're
create.
back. Okay.
I'm back. Sorry about that. You create that post in Canva, and then you're able to.
Able to what, Steve? Leave us hanging. Okay, we'll let him sort himself out. I think the gist of what Steve is trying to say, obviously, is you create something in Canva and then it's already stored there for future use, for editing, for going back to just creating. Yeah, Canva is amazing, and it really helps you pick up templates if you're not very creative yourself. There's so many different designs and posts, and you can go to themes and all that kind of stuff. Like, Canva is amazing to help you be a little bit more creative on social media and save some time rather than trying to create design tools from scratch. There he is. Do you want to just finish that up, Steve, while we've got you? Because I don't think you're going to last long.
Okay, I'll do it. So use Canva as your design tool. That way you can save it and then go back, and you've already done the hard work. Go back and recreate it. Change the words or change a picture, but your basic design has already been done and it's already saved. That's one key topic. The next one is the filing system. Create a filing system. I use Monday through Sunday. So anything that I have to post in on any one of those days is in a file folder. And then inside Monday, for example, I will have Coffee with Steve. And then Tuesday, I'll have Fat Loss Tuesday. Anything that I need to post, whether it's in my business page or my personal profile, I'll have it listed: personal profile, business page, stories. So I can get to it on the fly, where I don't have to search around and try to figure out where I dropped it last. And it's recommended to use something like Google Docs, where you can create file folders, or Dropbox. Either one is good. And that way it's saved on the cloud and you have easy access to it. This will save you a ton of time and reduce your stress and keep you organized. And you'll be able to be more productive and efficient in the process. That's what I wanted to share with you. Sorry about the interruption.
That's all right. You got through to the end, and that, what Steve was saying just highlights what I was saying earlier about repurposing your content. Store it and repurpose it. It's really an efficient thing to do in your business. Okay, Yvette, what tip do you have for?
All right. I really don't even know what to post. Man, what do I need to post this week? Why do you want to do that? Let us try to work smarter and not harder. That's hard to think of. Every day you wake up, you're trying to figure out, what do I need to post? All right. So I have a cool tip to share with you today, and that is to schedule your posts. Schedule your posts. Now, we know that we have Facebook, we have the entire ecosystem, but we're going to focus on Facebook and Instagram in this conversation, because that's where most people are. And not only that, Facebook and Instagram have what they consider a business suite, and that's where you will be able to schedule your posts. So why should you schedule your posts? One, it saves time, allows you to be consistent, allows you to work offline. So you could be in Bora Bora and your posts would be going out anyway because you already scheduled them. And so for us to be like really busy on social media, because we're busy off social media and we're busy on social media. So why wouldn't we want to work smarter by scheduling our posts? Now, the content. Now, on your business page, for those of you who have business pages, you're going to find out that Facebook right now has a whole new look called the Meta Business Suite. And so previously, you used to be able to go to publishing and do all that shenanigan, but now you need to be going through the Meta Business Suite. pay the creator studio to schedule your post. And a couple of cool things about that, you can schedule for at least 4 to 6 weeks recommended. I think you can schedule longer, but I know that things have changed. 4 to 6 weeks. And why is that so? Sometimes you schedule your posts and your content might become redundant. You have to go back in and refresh. So you don't want to schedule like I think it was up to 6 months. So now they've rolled it back to 4 to 6 weeks. That's comfortable. But you go in from time to time and refresh if you need to. Put in current events if you need to, maybe some news or something that you might want to share in the moment. Now, although you can schedule your post, you still have the autonomy to go in and change stuff. You can edit stuff. And the cool thing about scheduling the post is that automation and systems. Now, I don't know anybody that doesn't like automation. Go to sleep and it works. Go to wherever you want to go and it works. So the scheduling post mechanism that is in Facebook also works alongside in Instagram, because if you notice nowadays, Instagram, your business suite is paired with Facebook business page. So now when you schedule in one in your Instagram, if you choose that option, you can just slide it over into Facebook. And now you have 2 posts going there. And when you go to your stories, you can post straight from your stories, goes into your Facebook stories, slides right over to Instagram. So there's a lot of interchanging going on. So that Facebook and all that ecosystem is helping us to work smarter and not harder. A couple of things I want to share with you before I go is that on your personal page, that's a little different. You might not be able to schedule. I don't think you are able to schedule your post on your personal page. I saw something long time ago where you could use a little clock, but I don't think that's gone. So now let's take it now that we cannot schedule on our personal page. Most people only have a personal page. So what do? Steve just said it. You get your Google Docs, you get your Google Sheets, you sit down, spend some time, and you put your content together so that when you're ready for it, you can just grab it and post it. You don't have to sit down and be like, man, I don't even remember what am I going to post? You have it all there, batch. Helen talked about batching. So you do like a 2 weeks worth of post, maybe headlines, a little content here and there, whatever you want to do, but have a framework. That way, when you're ready, it's already there, because now you'd have already organized your content. Either way, whether you're going to use the automated system in the Facebook business suite and Instagram, or just on your regular post. So why wouldn't we want to work smarter and not harder by using the tools that are already there for us? And if they're not there, you need to go get them right now, because it's easy to pair your Instagram with your Facebook business suite. You just have to have a business page. If you're doing business on Facebook anyway, you need a business page. So get on with it and go ahead and work smarter and not harder. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. If you're only on a personal profile, my biggest tip for you is just get organized. Just set out a plan. Those of you in the coaching community, I gave you more than one blueprint on yesterday's training of how to create content on your personal profile and business pages, for a whole month in less than an hour. So I've got blueprints for you to create that. So go and watch that replay if you're in my coaching community. But your savior is just being organized, guys. If you're a last minute person, because we can't schedule in advance, in a personal profile, it'll do your head in eventually. So either you'll just give up, or you won't post for 6 or 7 days because I just need a break from social media. So many people do that. They just, I've got to detox from social media. It's because you're exhausted by social media. If you plan out your social media, you don't need to be exhausted by social media. And if you do have a business page, Instagram and stuff like that, absolutely using the Meta Business Suite. I could not survive in my business unless I had things scheduled on my page and my groups as well. Like, it's just a savior to work smarter and not harder. There's no way I could do all of that last minute or post on the fly. Just remember, a word of caution with scheduling posts is don't schedule 100% of your posts. because Facebook knows that you're not there in real time. So do live videos that are in real time. Post a selfie with something that you're up to in real time. Like Facebook knows when you schedule 100% of your content, and they don't want you to do that. They want you to be there in real time as well. Okay, that very good point. Thank you, Yvette. Okay, lucky last. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing because she's known as the Hot Mess Express. So, you know, Hot Mess Laurie. So brace yourselves. What have you got for us, Laurie?
Well, and I don't know why. Okay, I got to find my mouse. Where to go? Okay, I don't know why. I'm nervous on this one.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because I'm going maybe a little bit different direction, but I think if you stick with me, I'm going to tie it up and put a nice, beautiful little bow on it. Okay, so I want to talk about the differences between between having intentions and being intentional. Okay, so on the surface of it, it probably doesn't sound like this has anything to do with working smarter, not harder, but stick with me. Because, you know, I mean, you've talked about it a lot. You know, you always tell us there's major differences between that, but I want to share it from my hot mess point of view. Okay. And I'm very aware of the time. So, and I'm looking at my notes. Why am I so nervous? This is dumb. Okay, so how do we work smarter and not harder in all the areas of our, you know, our lives, our businesses, whatever. So we all know success starts right here, right between our ears. And if we don't have it all together up there, things are going to be a lot harder. Trust me, I could teach a class on that. We have to position ourselves for success. So how do we do that? Well, we start working on ourselves first. Mindset is everything, right? A little boring, but it's everything. So how many times have we heard someone that's had massive success, okay, or they've had massive mind shift, okay? They just like woke up one day and it's like, I'm done. I am not doing this anymore, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And everything just kind of fell into place for them after that, right? So I think a couple of things happened in that process. One, they made a decision. Okay, they woke up, they were done, they made a decision. And in that decision, then they took massive action. Okay, and in that action, they got good results, whether it was good or bad results. But they got them, and they got them much quicker because they made a major decision and they took massive action. So where does the smarter part come in? The smarter part comes in when we don't second guess ourselves, okay? And we push past our fear, we try something, we do something, get it done, versus trying to make it perfect, spending time on it, stressing, all of that. So I have amazing intentions. I do. I want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have all these intentions, but I'm not very intentional sometimes. I'm working on that. So I went through this training last week with Dean and Tony, and I'm trying not to make all my content about this training, but it made such a huge impact on me. So, you know, you've heard a lot about like what all the different like things that you can do to make it quicker, easier, work smarter, not harder. But I think when we can learn to make quick decisions, whether they're a right decision or a wrong decision, okay, if we can learn to make quick decisions, whether they work out or not, we get results quicker, good or bad. We can evaluate quicker, and we can move forward quicker. So my point here is that even though it may not seem like this fits into the training, learning to make quick decisions, evaluating that outcome, and moving on to the next one shortens our journey to our goals. And I think we have to be smarter than our brains. Our brains are designed to slow us down and keep us safe and make things harder for us. So I challenge you to push yourself to make decisions quicker, pivot quicker from the outcome, and then make another one. And bottom line, what it all boils down to is you have to do it. All of these tips, all of these whatevers are awesome. But unless we make the decision to actually do them, they're not going to help. So that's my little bow.
Yeah, and thank you for the bow. And there's so many things that went through my brain yet that I could actually talk to you guys for another half an hour about what Laurie just said. But I won't. Don't freak out. I won't. But what I will say is I love hearing stories. This is going to sound weird. I love hearing the stories of people that hit rock bottom because it made them make a decision. And you see this in all walks of life. So like you see it in network marketing as well, is somebody financially, like they I've heard stories of people eating dog food. I've heard of stories like that you just wouldn't believe money-wise because they couldn't afford food or they couldn't afford things for their kids and things like that. And it was like, this has to work. There is no other going down. I can't go any down further than I already am. The only way is up. I've got to make this work. And they're the ones that really push, make a decision, take the action, and they're the ones that have the success. Same with weight loss stories. That you see those major transformations of somebody that's lost 100 pounds, 200 pounds. Like, how the hell did they do it? It's because they had that pivotal moment that was like, no more. And they made a decision. So sometimes I think it's, when you have that moment that makes you make a decision is when the sort of the action comes through. So hopefully we don't all hit rock bottom to have to make that decision, but you decide to post, you decide to learn, you decide to take action, you decide to network, you decide to read a book, you decide to go for a walk, you decide to eat healthier. Nothing comes from success unless it's you making those decisions, but not only making the decisions, acting on those decisions. So there's actually a hell of a lot in what you shared there, Laurie. So thank you for putting the bow on it. And I just really encourage you guys to think your life is about decisions and the decisions you make and the decisions that you don't make. And those of you that are stuck or overwhelmed, you're not making decisions quick enough. You're sitting in the struggle. So get yourself out of the struggle and make decisions quicker. And then you evaluate. And if it doesn't work out, who cares? At least you know the outcome. You evaluate and go, well, that didn't work. So now I'm going to do this. You make another decision and you take action on that decision. But if you stay in overwhelm and you stay stuck, you're not making decisions. You're actually choosing to stay in the struggle. Who wants that? No, thank you. Not me. So I really hope those of you, and well done to those of you that have stayed with us the whole life, because it ended up being a little bit longer than what we suggested. But I just hope if you've watched this, or those of you catching the replay, that you just got one little nugget out of this discussion today that can help you just work that little bit smarter. It's not about working harder. It really is about working smarter. So I want to say, massive thanks to these guys that I work with really closely, to Beth, to Meredith, to Cherie, to Steve, to Yvette, and to Laurie. Thank you very much for your contributions. Love working with you guys and seeing you progress in your businesses. So say thank you to my panel of experts here, guys. And, we'll be back for another one. But thanks, guys. Please unmute and say goodbye to everyone. I'm sure they'll go back to your comments.
Bye now.
See y'all later.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks
and I
for
hope
tuning in.
We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.